10 places to visit in Jordan. Jordan is a traveler's dream introduction to the Middle East. Safe and friendly, the destination gets travelers up close to world wonders and immerses them in world-class hospitality. You'll feel right at home once you slip into the culture of this easygoing country. UNESCO World Heritage Sites abound in Jordan. Marvel at fading frescoes in the 1,300-year-old desert castle of Quseir Amra. Climb red sand dunes and stand in the shadows of weathered sandstone in Wadi Rum's humbling desert landscape. And plan to spend at least 2 days exploring Jordan's crown jewel attraction, Petra. The jaw-dropping sights in the ancient Nabatean city will leave you stunned and eager to see more. Number 10. Desert Castles. Stretching from Amman to the border of Saudi Arabia, the Zarqa Governorate is home to a series of archaeological sites known as the Desert Castles. These early Islamic buildings were erected by the Umayyads around the turn of the 7th century. Not quite castles in the traditional sense, the collection of structures consists of hunting lodges, forts, military citadels, bathhouses, and rest stops for caravans, among other types of buildings. Rent a car and drive the Desert Castle Loop to visit the sites. You'll get the chance to see Quseir Amra, a squat building with interiors covered with beautiful frescoes. Quseir Halabat, a Roman fort that features volcanic basalt rock and a well-preserved mosaic. Quseir al-Karanan, a castle-like structure that has dozens of rooms, but whose original function has been lost to history. And Azraq Castle, an ancient walled fort known as the place where T.E. Lawrence sought shelter. Number 9. Ajlun. Situated just 20 kilometers northwest of Jerash, Ajlun makes a worthwhile trip for tourists who want to see some of the best natural scenery in all of Jordan. Plan to spend a day hiking around the Ajlun Forest Reserve, a 13 square kilometer expanse of pristine open woodlands. In the spring, the area is blanketed by wildflowers, which makes for spectacular photo opportunities. Keep your eyes peeled for the crested porcupines and striped hyenas that live in the area. Be sure to visit the Ajlun Castle on the summit of Mount Uf. It was built in the 12th century in the footprints of an even older Byzantine monastery to protect against the Crusader attacks. Its mountaintop location offers sweeping views of the Jordan Valley. Number 8. Ancient Mosaics of Madaba. While sightseeing in many destinations demands you look up, the opposite is true in the historic trading city of Madaba. The city is home to the largest number of mosaics discovered in their original location in the world, many of which are located on the floors of churches and buildings around the city. The relatively unassuming St. George's Church is home to one of the most noteworthy mosaics in Jordan, the Madaba Mosaic Map. Visitors can see more mosaics at Madaba's two archaeological parks. The open-air museum at Archaeological Park 1 contains a stunning geometric mosaic from the Church of the Virgin Mary. This attraction also houses the oldest mosaic in Jordan, which dates back to the 1st century BC, as well as breathtaking carpet-like tile work of the Four Seasons and nature that was once in a Byzantine villa. Number 7. Wadi Mujib. Stretching from the desert highway around 70 kilometers to the Dead Sea, Wadi Mujib is Jordan's answer to America's Grand Canyon. The River Canyon, which is 4 kilometers wide and 1 kilometer deep, offers nature lovers the chance to explore unique scenery and see a plethora of wildlife, including Egyptian vultures, Nubian ibex, striped hyena, and the Syrian wolf. There's great hiking through the Wadi Mujib Gorge if you don't mind getting a little wet. You can also head to the Mujib Reserve Biosphere to soak in picturesque hot springs just an hour-and-a-half away from Amman. Number 6. Mount Nebo. Mount Nebo is the crown jewel of biblical sites in Jordan. According to the Old Testament, this mountain is said to be the place where Moses saw the Promised Land ahead of his death. Today, it's a spiritual attraction with some of the country's best preserved mosaics from the 6th century, a serpentine cross, and the famous Moses Memorial Church. Your ticket to the church includes access to Memorial Viewpoint, which has a small museum and views of the Dead Sea and Jerusalem on a clear day. But for more privacy with similar vistas, take a 100-meter walk on the road downhill from Mount Nebo and make a left toward the hilltop. It's the perfect spot for a picnic lunch. Number 5. Roman ruins in Amman. You don't have to go all the way to Petra to see fantastic archaeological sites in Jordan. In fact, the capital Amman is home to a variety of fascinating ruins, many of which are within short walking distance from one another. Head downtown to see one of the most celebrated ruins, the Amman Citadel. Archaeologists have found artifacts around the citadel that suggest it had been occupied since at least the Bronze Age. Here, you can see the few columns that remain of the amazing Temple of Hercules, a significant Roman structure that was never completed. Look for the stone sculpture of several fingers, which were once part of a Hercules statue that may have been more than 12 meters tall. It hints at just how majestic this attraction was during its height. The attraction is still full of life, hosting many events and welcoming locals and tourists alike. Number 4. Wadi Rum. Head to the southern region of Jordan and you'll be treated to one of the most spectacular landscapes across the globe, Wadi Rum. Also known as the Valley of the Moon, this sandstone and granite rock valley is an otherworldly experience, with towering cliffs, massive dunes, swirling archways, and caverns. It served as the set for much of the 1962 film Lawrence of Arabia and was tagged a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2011. Adventure lovers, eat your heart out. The Zalabiya Bedouin, a cultural group that lives in the area, have transformed the Wadi Rum into an ecotourism playground. You can ride camels or spirited Arabian horses through the area, strap on a harness and go rock climbing up the sandstone mountains, hike through canyons, and kick up sand on ATV tours. Ask your tour guide to take you to the Khazali Canyon, where you can see petroglyphs of humans and antelopes that may date back as far as the 8th century BC. Consider spending the night at one of the luxurious glamorous camping sites in Wadi Rum. With almost zero light pollution, the park offers incredible stargazing opportunities. No wonder visiting Wadi Rum is one of the top things to do in Jordan. Number 3. Jerash Ruins. Nothing feels more like traveling back in time than visiting the Jerash Ruins. It's one of the world's best preserved ancient Roman cities and features spectacular places to visit, from colonnaded avenues and temples to a massive sports arena that once had a seating capacity of 15,000 spectators. Tourists kick off their sightseeing adventure of the Jerash Ruins by walking through Hadrian's Arch. The Hippodrome, a sports field constructed around the 2nd century, once hosted chariot races as entertainment for thousands of onlookers. Another highlight of the Jerash Ruins is the Forum. The oval-shaped plaza is lined by still-standing columns that give the space a regal feel. Climb the steps of the nearby Temple of Zeus to get an even better view of the colonnaded site. Jerash seems to have a fascinating ruin for everyone. Explore to see which site is your favorite. Number 2. Dead Sea. Floating in the Dead Sea is a quintessential thing to do in Jordan. The lowest point on Earth is accessible by road. This body of water is located at 418 meters below sea level. It practically glows an intense shade of aquamarine, a particularly striking sight next to salt-encrusted rock ledges and barren red mountains in the background. You can reach the attractions in the Dead Sea region in about an hour by car from Amman. The Dead Sea is renowned for its mineral-rich water. Wellness devotees believe the water has healing properties for the skin. Don't plan to swim laps though. The Dead Sea is so dense and salient that all you can really do is float atop the surface. You can access the Dead Sea from a couple of entry points, including Amman Beach. Better yet, splurge on a stay at one of the plush spa resorts on the Dead Sea's northeast coast. They typically have private waiting areas complete with buckets of Dead Sea mud. One bath with this red-brown sludge, and your skin will be softer than ever. Number 1. Petra. Prepare to be amazed by Petra, one of the new 7 wonders of the world. This attraction has wowed modern-day visitors since the long-lost city's rediscovery by Swiss explorer Jean-Louis Picard more than 200 years ago. You'll need at least 2 days to hit all the highlights around Petra, which include more than 800 registered sites. But if you have more time, you won't be disappointed spending it here. Wandering around a city this ancient in such a well-preserved state is an experience like none other. Petra wastes no time impressing tourists. Immediately after the entrance, you'll see mysterious Dejin blocks, imposing stone monuments whose original purpose still remains unknown, followed by the obelisk tomb. It's just a sample of the incredible sights to come.